What's going on, everybody? It's Aurora here, coming at you with a brand new video, and I'm sorry that I look a mess like I typically have been lately, because these things just keep springing out of nowhere, and I just got done riding my bike to and from my neighbors multiple times, and I am super hot and sweaty right now, but Konami just keeps, like, dropping these things, like, on a roll right now. They're just going at a steady pace, because now we have Dark World support in a structure deck? Like, this just seems so out of the blue. It's so weird, but I mean, hey, I won't pass up free content, I guess. But this is the structure deck Devil's Gate, and this is full of a bunch of new Dark World support cards and retrains, I think. So that's going to be really cool to look at. And there are 4 cards I did check, and that does fulfill my criteria. So let's go ahead and look and see what we have so far revealed. So it says Grapha is back, baby, Lamau. This is our first card. This is Rainbow Supreme Overload of Dark World. Okay, so this is a Rainbow retrain. That's pretty neat. I always liked Rainbow as a kid because I had a copy and it was like super cool looking. But it is a level 8, 3000 attack and 1800 defense Dark Fiend that says you can special summon this card from your graveyard by returning a level 7 or lower Dark World monster you control to the hand. Okay, so it's basically a Grapha effect. And it says if it's discarded by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 5 or higher Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, except Rainbow. Then, if it was discarded by your opponent, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Dark World monster from your deck or graveyard to either field. Okay, so admittedly, this isn't going to come up very much because your opponent's not really going to be discarding your own stuff like half the time, unless you force your opponent to, like with the one trap card. But the special summoning condition is really nice. Again, it is basically just Grapha. Returning your Dark Worlds to your hand is always really cool. And then adding any level 5 or higher Dark World monster except himself, which again includes Grapha, is also really nice because you can just keep getting a lot of special summons on board now, which is something the deck did struggle with a little bit if it couldn't get its stuff discarded too much. But this definitely seems to pick up the pace a little bit. Next up, we have Dark World Puppet, and it looks like we got Snow Unlight of Dark World on there. She was also one of my favorites. Those are the 2 Dark World cards I owned, actually, were Rainbow and Snow. And this is a quick play spell. It says you can only activate 1 with this card's name per turn. And it says you can target up to 3 cards in any graveyards and banish them, then discard a Fiend monster. And during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Fiend monsters and add it to your hand. Ooh, okay. This seems like a really good card for just Fiend decks in general. Like, can you imagine burning Abyss with this? This is just a better DD Crow. Wow. And then it triggers all of your stuff. I really enjoy that. And then being able to recur your stuff is also really nice. I don't know why they'd be getting banished other than by this, but banish recovery is always really cool, especially because it adds to your hand instead of like shuffling it back. So I really enjoy that, actually. That's a pretty cool card. Ooh, okay. Next up, we have a Fusion. That seems really out of left field. And this is Grapha Dragon Overlord of Dark World. It is a level 10, 3200 attack, and 2300 defense Dark Fiend Fusion that requires Grapha and a Dark monster. It says you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. When your opponent activates a normal spell or trap card or monster effect, quick effect, you can make that effect become your opponent discards 1 card. And if this fusion summon card leaves the field by your opponent, you can special summon one of your Grapha Lord of Dark World that is banished or in your graveyard, then each player discards 1 card. Okay, this is a lot to unpack here. So finally, they have some going first plays, but mainly, I was just talking about your opponent triggering your discards to make them better by using like the weird trap card or whatever. I forgot what it was called, actually. I think it's like by order of the Emperor or something. But this actually does just that. It makes it's literally not only a negate, but it also pluses you. And I'm pretty sure, like, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure even if you don't have a card to discard, you can still make your opponent's effect become that. Ooh, I love that. And then the floating is also really cool because you're gonna have your Graphas banished or in your graveyard a lot. And then it actually specials it, so that's really nice. It has to leave the field by your opponent, granted, but it says leaves the field, period. So it's sort of like Mirror Jade in a sense that it doesn't matter how it dies. It gets banished, it gets sent, destroyed, whatever. As long as that happens, you're going to get a free Grapha, and each player discards a card. So that'll not only trigger your Dark Worlds, but also make your opponent neg some card advantage 9 times out of 10. I enjoy this. Hopefully this last spell is a fusion spell or a way to get into this, because otherwise they don't really have any native way to get into it. But this is Dark World Accession. Yeah, because these are just reprints. See, there's Rainbow. I love Rainbow. But this is Dark World Accession. Maybe it's supposed to be Ascension. I don't know. It says you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. It says during the main phase, okay, fusion summon a fiend fusion from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field and or graveyard. If summoning a Dark World fusion monster this way, you can also discard monsters from your hand as material. And during your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can add it to your hand, then discard a Dark World monster. Oh my god. This is by far one of the best archetypal fusion spells I've ever seen. Like, ignoring the fact, yeah, it can't use materials from deck, who cares? You're, like, triggering all of your Dark Worlds. You get to discard monsters from your hand. And then during the main phase, it doesn't say one effect per turn, you can only use each. It says you can add it to hand for later, and then discard a Dark World to trigger another one. And you can set it and use it on the opponent's turn. What? Not to mention, this is technically generic. It says fusion a fiend fusion by using materials from field or grave. That's actually pretty fire. I don't know exactly what else you'd be summoning. Someone's probably going to find like some table 500 strategy to do it. MBT will show it on 10-minute testing or something. But the sheer amount of advantage that this can give you is crazy, especially with how good the Grapha fusion is. Like, seriously. Like, look at this. It's so easy to summon. I was hoping that they wouldn't just get, like, a generic poly that maybe has a grave effect, but this really exceeds my standards. I am really surprised that Dark World was given a card this good. Could we actually see a resurgence of Danger Dark World? Because we haven't seen that since the FTKs in 2018 using Firewall Dragon and Cannon Soldier. I think it'd be really cool to see actual Danger Dark World. So I can see, you know, on your turn, maybe getting out the Grapha and then having the materials to, you know, add this back to your hand, obviously, set it, and then use it on your opponent's turn to have another if you want. But unfortunately, it is a hard once per turn. So maybe you could actually play some other Fiend targets. Hold up, let me look at something. So from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like there's anything like too generic enough. But, no, a big but, you can play Despia Dark World. And like the Dark World stuff that discards and the dangers can trigger Tragedy. Because keep in mind, not only is Priskenian a fiend, and I'm assuming Queritids, if Queritids isn't a fairy, it's a fiend, whatever. But Masquerade, interestingly enough, isn't a dragon, but a fiend. So what I'm thinking is you can sit on Grapha and make that on your turn, and then use the materials that are now in your graveyard, like the, I think it's Brow Huntsman of Dark World that lets you draw cards instead of like summoning it. You can use those that are in grave to special like a Masquerade or something. Ooh. I am very interested actually to see what people are going to come up with this. Because being able to like use it twice obviously is going to be the end goal. But that's crazy. And then wait a minute. This also triggers Tragedy. Because Tragedy just triggers if it's like banished or sent by card effect, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can literally banish, like you can send Tragedy off of this by, wait one sec, let me, it just says, yeah, a dark monster. Okay, guys. Activate a session, discarding Tragedy, and then, like, Brow. Effective, like, make this. Effective Tragedy. Search Aluber. Normal Aluber. Effect, add Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion, go into Mirror Jade. Effect of this engrave. Adding to hand, then discard like any Dark Wood. It doesn't matter. Set. Opponent's turn. Yeah, of course you have to wait until the main phase, unfortunately. But activate, banishing Tragedy and something else from graveyard. Make Masquerade. Effective Tragedy. Add something else. That is so cracked. And then wait a minute. And you can trigger ad libitum and dramaturge as well. That's so crazy, dude. This card is so good. Wow. But yeah, with that end board I told you, you're not only getting the Masquerade burn, but you're getting an effect, not only basically negation, quote unquote, but alter that can actually make you plus. But you're also getting a Mirror Jade as well, because I don't think their extra deck's gonna be too chock full of things. You might play like 2 of these, right? Oh yeah, remember you do have to open Grapha, by the way. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that you do have to get that. You can't use Brow or anything. You have to use Grapha. Or maybe you don't. You can use Light Hex Sealed Fusion like Despia used for a little bit, and instead of making Dragoon, you can use a session to make Grapha. This is so funny. Oh my god. So, I haven't even really discussed the uses of Rainbow. I'm just looking at all 3 of these, mixing with something like Despia. That's so cool. Branded opening discards for effect, too. Okay, I might be reading a bit too much into this and overhyping this a little bit, but I think Despia Dark World could be really funny. I mean it. Wow, that is just so interesting to think about. This is one of the few times I've actually taken into consideration a different archetype in one of my reviews, which you guys apparently seem to not like when I just judge them on face value. But yeah, I think that Despia Dark World could be really cool. I really like this support overall for an older strategy. I don't think it's going to like elevate the deck too high unless we do see some Despia variants. But it would be cool to see Dark World back in the meta again for something that isn't degenerate like Firewall FTK. I don't know, I've had like a sweet spot for, or like a soft spot I should say, for Dark World since I was a little kid because I did have quite a few Dark World cards after a while and I just thought they were really neat. So I really do want to see some good stuff from the support, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. But tell me in the comments below what you think because that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please be sure to leave a like as it helps put this video and the channel into YouTube recommended. If you really liked it and you want to see more content like it, like the rest of my card reviews, which we're getting a lot lately, then perhaps consider subscribing because we're on our way to 1,500 subscribers and it supports the channel more than anything else. Plus, it's absolutely free. But once again, thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.